Hello everybody, this is my video in astrophysics number 38. Well, as you can see, my native language is French, therefore I will try to speak the best English I can. And something else, I am not a professional translator, but I produce the best translation of my French text I can with a translator. And something else, I have to follow a text so that I don't forget important details. And for those who find my video without going through my website, let me introduce myself. My name as a self-taught and multidisciplinary scientist is Gilles Lauzon Urtubise, and I am the owner of the first human multiintelligence.com site, which is on your left side then. As you know, the title of my video is Equation Used to Calculate the Gravitational Force of All Objects in the Universe. So, I managed to invent a sufficient numbers of elements to allow the formation of an equation that is used to calculate the force of gravity of all objects in the universe. Moreover, this equation was particularly complex to form because it is after about 4 years after the start of my self-taught study in astrophysics, which began in early February 2014, that I was able to complete the quantity of elements that are used to form an equation suitable enough to calculate the force of gravitation of all objects in the universe. And thanks to the fact that I was able to successfully complete the decoding of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, after 5 years and 8 months of self-study in astrophysics and a little in chemistry. And more various information in astrophysics is available on my website, firsthumanmultiintelligence.com. On the other hand, and unlike a portion of the text which concern general relativity of a French-speaking Wikipedia, which is the one that I translate then. And what it says is general relativity is based on concepts radically different from those of Newtonian gravitation. It states in particular that gravitation is not a force, but the manifestation of the curvature of space, in fact of space-time. Curvature itself produced by the distribution of energy in the form of mass or kinetic energy, which differ according to the observer's frame of reference. However, I totally disagree with general relativity, which is a relativistic theory of gravity, when it states in particular that gravity is not a force, because gravity or gravitation is a force. So then I keep continuing. Because objects in the universe do not move by accommodating magic. Okay, they need some things to keep moving. So then, because they are partially accompanied by a force of gravity, but partially. So not completely, but because they are partially accompanied by a force of gravity, and that there is no form of manifestation of the curvature of space actually space-time, simply because it does not exist. Moreover, and according to my result of my self-stat study, which are largely in astrophysics and a little in chemistry of 5 years and 8 months, and during which I have managed to invent and or produce between 50 and 100 or more theories in astrophysics. These studies have led me to invent and or produce a sufficient quantity of theories to successfully decode the functioning of the universe on a macroscopic scale, and to successfully explain the origin of all objects, as well as how they formed, how they function, and the circumstances or conditions that led to one or the other of different possible deaths. But that I will only reveal after filing my patent for my extraordinary spaceship. On the other hand, my imposing mother theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, it must have somewhere between 3,000 and 6,000 pages or more about these pages, and with the same character. So it should be somewhere between 3,000 and 6,000 or more pages of document. As far as I am concerned, there is no way that my extremely physical, logical mind could be buttered or fooled by any branches of complex mathematics. And among my 50 and 100 or more theories of my imposing mother theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, there is none of that has any connection depend on mathematics. And about the same theory, there are none of these that can be characterized as one or more accommodating magical thoughts form. Because my extremely high physical logical mind, it originates from an insatiable curiosity about nature that started from an age that is only 5 or 6 years old or before, or a little bit before, then and until now. So from a very early age, I found myself assimilating a considerable amount of experience nature and relationship between physical cause to physical effects to understand how nature works most of the time, or in many times then. And all of these starting from a pretty early age by observing the nature of soil, rivers, insects, small animals, and all the things in the nature that takes too long to list. Because I have a great chance to born on a farm in country, which they have a bush at the other hands of the farm, and in the back of my house they have a river, a large river. So this place, I always think about this place in my souvenir. So because it's so nice, then so nice view that I keep in my mind, and so many experiences that I view during that time. Right now I live in town, but I have so many souvenirs from my young time. So for several decades I have managed to accumulate a considerable amount of nature experience and relationship between physical cause to physical effect in my biologic drive or mind, because this is extremely useful afterwards to be able to differentiate the possible thing from the impossible things. Then, and among other things, never to be trapped by all kinds of mathematical magical thoughts or other forms of magical thinking, which have nothing in common with physical reality. And thanks to my extremely high intellectual capacity in deep investigation, in deep reflection, in very deep analysis, and about limitless inventiveness and many other forms of very important intelligence which I use to practice all the time. So all of these things allowed me to be the first and only the one in history to be able to decode how the universe works on a macroscopic scale and in an extreme short time of only 5 years and 8 months. Whereas every other astrophysicist or planetologist before me has been unable to do so for the past 200 years and more. Currently, my quantities of theories, which is somewhere between 50 and 100 theories or more of my imposing model theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, will give me a level of satisfaction that is somewhere between 96% and 98.5%. But I will never completely satisfied until I achieve 100% satisfaction. And that is the reason I like to tackle at least 3 or 4 extremely complex files or more at the time, who are currently, number 1, my imposing model theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, which I want to achieve at 100% satisfaction. Number 2, my pattern file, which is between 300 pages and 350 pages for my extraordinary spaceship. So I need to find funding because I want to finalize the best possible pattern and until it can be 100% protected. So, of course, in astrophysics, they have a lot of evidence of a complete misunderstanding of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale on the part of all other astrophysicists before me. And I knew it because I succeed to produce my imposing model theory. So I know all immense difficulty and complexity to overcome for all the other astrophysicists before me, before they can begin to decode little by little how all the objects in the universe works at beginning, then and after, if they can succeed to doing this, they could be able to start forming different theories until they become satisfactory and agree with each other, and after that's another level of immense difficulty. And then to be able to start producing a sufficient quantity of theories that can all be complementary until they manage to explain how the universe works from A to Z or almost until proven otherwise, so as to achieve the same level of my explanation as all of my theories of my imposing model theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale. So, of course, for me, it is very easy to understand why no one's before me had any chance to achieve such an intellectual feat like the ones of my model theory, my imposing model theory. So, then something else, and of all of my theories that going into my imposing model theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, there are none of them that can be called or a theory of one or more accommodating magical thought or any other magical thinking. So, because all of my theories are based on one or more relationship about physical cause to physical effect and nothing else. On the other hand, if it's happened in the near future that I come realize that one of my theory is no longer acceptable, I will change it fast as possible. But it is possible that any of my theories could be completely wrong? No, no, this is impossible. But in the worst possible case, I probably just have to make one or few slight modification of it. In conclusion of this part of the text, my intellectual and humanitarian ambition and responsibility as a multidisciplinary and self-taught scientist and humanist is to advance the knowledge of the humanity. Plus, it's to produce a website where they have a section which is used to protect by system tools, pretty genius system tools, all members of the society, and to help them to become the best possible person they can be. So, and to protect them from the people then they should not meet. So, or they have to used to be very care about. So, then another section is used to protect the environment because it's regroup all the best ideas around the world and the best practice and the best behavior about protect the environment. So, and plus all the name of all people they produce these new ideas, because it's not only my ideas but all the good ideas around the world. So to tell to all users of the system of my website what to do when they want to protect the environment much as possible. So, and another section which is used to give all ideas to protect the animal much as possible, because by protecting them we also protecting us. So then plus in this website they have a multitude of system tools. They help people to produce peace in public and at every level of the society, and in family too, of course. So then, and some other system tools, they explain from A to Z why democracy is so important and why we should continue to protect democracy for the future of the humanity and the future of our child. So something else then, the term impossible is a term that I will never respect, and as long as I am sufficiently in good physical, intellectual and mental condition. So something else, I need help to start forming a small research center in astrophysics, in physics, particle physics, chemistry, biology, and medicine in a form of PPP. So for those who do not know the term PPP, it means public and private partnership, because thereafter I intend to buy back the government investment and ultimately become the sole owner of the research center and all of my other company. Because the money for me, it's not important. I don't care about money, but for me it's a tool to turn and buy more computer, employ more people to help me to produce much new ideas, much new good things for the humanity and for the futures of our kids. So this is the only way why money is important for me. It's just to produce more as I can, so, and nothing else. So because the only pleasure I had in my life is produce new ideas. So there's nothing more great, that produce more satisfaction than to produce new ideas every day I can. So yes, about my research center, I need a slow start that will allow me that will allow me, I hope, to be able to stay in control of the investment until I can become independent enough to buy it out. So the start of my research center must begin with hiring a scientific writer. I can write, but this is not important for me to be the best writer, because they have lots of people, they are better than me, and so writing it's not important. The most important things is to be the best as I can to produce new ideas, new invention, new good things. So this is the most important for me then. So that's why I need to hiring a scientific writer, a science writer, and so I need a volunteer group of students and one or more science professor who would serve as my review committee to correct, adjust, and help me to finalize all of my scientific articles and finish my position in some few of them. So to finish my position as an astrophysicist or as a chemistry man, so then, or chemist. So that's why I need help, and to finalize all of my scientific articles until they are as perfect as possible. So that the participation of student and professor, they will serve as training towards new notion of astrophysicists, which aim to correct false notion of astrophysicists. And in many other cases where there is currently no astrophysical explanation for this or that phenomenon of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale. In addition, and if possible, I intend to form a scientific journal in my name, because apart from most of the measurements that are made from Earth by powerful telescope relative to the approximate volume of objects or other rough measurement that I accept, because all of those measurements they made by the best tool as we had and by professional scientists that I accept, because they do a very good job. So, but on the other side, most of the theories produced to try to explain partially explain the functioning of the universe on a macroscopic scale, there are a lot of them. They are erroneous, and in many other cases, they doesn't have any to explain. So from my parts, I succeed to build a huge wall of little bricks, which they are all theories that fit into my imposing modern theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale. Then, and plus all of those theories which are used to explain from A to Z, or almost, the origin of all the objects of the universe, as well as their mode of formation, their mode of functioning, the circumstances or condition which led to one or the other different possible deaths, and many other things specific to each of objects, to each type of objects, but that I will only reveal after my filing patent then. On the other hand, and about a year after the start of my self-taught study in astrophysics and little in chemistry, which I began early February 2014, so 1 year later, it's early February 2015, when I invented, without realizing it at the time, but the day after, an exceptional first generation device that is capable at that time to produce my first gravitational technology. Then, and from that point, I found it extremely fortunate that I had to continue working alone, because of the pattern that I had to continue to keep in secret. Because for the last 6 years and 2 months or so, I have been forced to work alone. But now that is no longer the case, because I have completed all the parts that contains in my invention in astrophysics, and all of my invention in physical mechanics. Then I put into my paper pattern, which is about 350 pages, which it served to build my extraordinary spaceship of the first generation, as well as those of my exceptional first generation device, which is capable, so after some time, then is capable of producing my three first gravitational technology. In the meantime, if may be possible for me to decide to patent my exceptional third generation device, which I invented 1 week or 2 weeks ago, which is the one that can produce much easier than my first exceptional then my first generation device, then my first exceptional device, which it can produce much more easily the 10 extraterrestrial gravitational technology for another spaceship, which is from third generation. Then, so it should. So of course it was different than the first one. Then, and to conclude this part of the text, if I had been able to work for the last 6 years and 2 months with collaborators from a research center, I would have invented and or produced a lot more new things, of course. So thank you for viewing my video, and welcome to see my next video, which will reveal my opinion on another pretty complex subjects of the universe. So thank you, goodbye.